There's like those when you call somewhere and there's like a call waiting response or voice. You may experience a brief delay.
Yeah, those
Just
creepy
like,
fucking voices.
yeah, 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 yeah. AI.
Oh, sweet.
Whoa, do you hear that?
Yeah. So I
Is that
I
the
pulled up the like a YouTube clip of us. I should. Can you say something?
hello? I
Okay,
will
good.
talk to you to see if the live has feedback.
I muted my laptop because it's going through the headphones right now, but the live is on. I just don't know
Oh,
why it's
okay,
not
okay.
showing up in the studio.
It, I don't know. It says live recording, so maybe it is.
Huh.
Huh.
Yeah, for everyone
Kashiba.
listening, I was trying to figure out why it wasn't coming up on the live in YouTube. This Riverside platform is really handy, but there are, everything has become a goal to limit the amount of steps it takes to get to where you're going. You
Totally.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? So the
Yeah.
interface isn't as handy as you'd want it to be because there's fewer options to choose from
Hmm.
because they're trying to simplify it anyway. It's weird that the YouTube live is going out, but I can't see it in our studio on YouTube.
Hmm. I mean, it says live, but I don't know. How's your week?
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
Okay, now I got it. I accessed it through Riverside instead of going through YouTube.
oh, there you go.
Dope. Okay, so this live is rocking. Awesome. How was my week? Week was quiet. Week was quiet. Got some paperwork done. My job is like really long term, so it's mostly just putting work together. So it's not super duper stressful. It is super duper boring a lot of the
Hmm.
time. Despite all
Hmm.
the learning I'm doing, it's like still pretty boring. Anyway, learning lots. How about you? How's your week?
That's good. That's good. Yeah. And my week's been it was colorful. Yeah. To know I realized on Friday I was like, I think I'm going to survive this year driving the bus. I think I might.
You weren't sure though.
But if you asked me on Tuesday or Wednesday, I might have said I quit.
Oh no way! Was that the day when
So,
you handed out like 17 citations?
for student behavior report forms. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is a
I don't
lot.
like that sort of thing, you know? And I think the principal at the school's tired of seeing me. She's like, "Hi." I'll
That's so
talk to
funny.
them. I'm like, "I know. I know." And like she's got to be busy as hell. This is just one of 6 7 buses and I mean not that all those buses are for her school. Like she's specifically middle school.
Yeah,
But yeah, she's got quite a colorful array of students to deal with on a daily basis. So I sympathize with her a lot. I'm just like, wow, I could not do your job. That's,
no.
yeah, could not.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Do you think it's different now than it was, say, 10 years ago?
I get the feeling it is. Yeah.
In a negative way.
I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of like different behaviors that we're seeing. And like, I can't say as to what the source is ultimately of the different behaviors, but um, yeah, I remember being in one of the classes that was considered like wild in middle school, but we never did stuff like on a regular basis that these kids do.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Because I feel like.
throwing stuff at each other, throwing food at each other, throw like the amount of things that have been thrown on my bus and like the language. I get that the language I was probably a not culprit, but like I definitely swore a lot like when parents weren't around, right? Because you're like, oh, it's my way of identifying as an adult using adult language, right? And
Mm-hmm.
anywho, so I want to say I'm doing my best to like work with them so that the whole year isn't going to be wacko.
I mean, and that's it too. It's not like a lot of people hearing this might believe that like draconian measures are the only answer, but you have to get along with
Mm.
these people because you see them every day. And if
Mhm.
otherwise,
Mhm.
it's just like tension, and it's not good for anyone, you know.
Yeah, and some of the behavior has been making other students uncomfortable, and so, I've got to make sure that everybody feels safe when they're using my method of transportation, right? So, part of doing that is eliminating behaviors that make people feel uncomfortable or unsafe. So,
Do you?
anyway, I, I don't want to like blab on about it, but I feel like it did consume a lot of like my mental space this week cuz
Well,
I
I mean,
care. Mhm.
and I think that's an important thing too to care about. You know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
and it says a lot too because you know back when we were bus age students, I don't think our bus drivers gave nearly as much of a shit about us as people. Um,
Sure. Yeah.
but I was wondering if do you think there are fewer consequences, or the consequences aren't as harsh today? Because I know I wasn't the greatest student, I wasn't the greatest behavior kid, but I found out where the line was really quick,
Mm.
and I knew that if I cross the line when I go home, it's going to be a lot worse
Mhm.
than whatever the school's doing. So I know
Mhm.
I behaved on the bus and stuff like that for those reasons. I'm wondering if
So that's something that I wondered. Cuz I'm under the impression and maybe assumption, like maybe impression isn't the right word. I think it's an assumption that the consequences at home are not more harsh for
yeah,
some people. I think there's some absenteeism on behalf of some students' parents, and like I don't want to judge, like I'm not in their shoes. I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's not possible for them to be as attentive. You know what I mean? Like there's a plethora
yeah,
of
we're just
situations.
identifying scenarios. We're not passing
Yeah.
judgment.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I think that kids are also a reflection of the behavior they see around them. And so, if you watched your parents be very respectful to others and kind and things like that, like you tend to emulate or embody that as well. And again, like most of the kids on my bus, I'm like they're really good kids. There's a couple that I would say that I'm like I don't know how you're gonna make it in life. And like that was a conversation I had with them one afternoon because I had just left the parking lot and they were immediately like throwing things. And
Ugh.
I pulled over the bus and I was like, we can't do this like this can't be what the whole school year is like. You guys are going to be adults in a very short amount of time in the world, and this behavior is not acceptable at all. And I was like, you need to make positive choices and choose positive behavior. And like I try and be so tactful in the way that I speak because they one all have cell phones. So I don't know who could possibly be recording me, and like I don't want to be a bus driver that goes viral on the internet, or
Oh
a
man.
person that goes viral on on the internet because they had like a verbal diarrhea
Mm-hmm.
to
Just like a rant.
a bunch of
Yeah.
minors, right? So
You little
and
pieces of shit.
I'm hoping also that like by being respectful and using respectful language that that will be mirrored back. So there's like a few things. I'm like, one, I want to protect myself. And two, you kind of have to. And, and yeah, it's it's like to the benefit, I think, of the whole functioning ecosystem of
Right.
the bus ride, right? And like it's a really short bus ride in my opinion.
Thank God.
So
I
it,
mean, imagine it wasn't.
yeah.
Imagine it was last year's route with these people.
Oh god, that I think I would quit. Yeah. Apparently that bus route is now also longer
Oh, is it?
by like 20 minutes.
No one's doing that one.
Well, the guy who is doing it is, I think, well suited for
Hmm.
the job. And like those kids were all like, I don't want to say really good kids. Like I don't know them all personally, but like you spend a couple hours with somebody every day. Like you're not. It's you know what we were talking about last week. It's kind of parallel play, right? Like they're there and you're doing your thing, and but you hear the goings on and whatever, and like those kids were all good kids. They just needed some corralling here and there
Yeah.
to be reminded, like, oh yeah, that, like you were saying, you discover where the line is, and it's like we don't
Sorry,
cross
I'm
that
just
line, right?
fucking with my camera here.
About to go Blair Witch Project on us.
I'm so.
Kids today, they won't know. They just won't know.
Um,
But yeah,
were you a bus student or did you walk when you were
I
a kid?
was I was a bus. We were on a bus, like a school bus, until grade 6, and then in grade 7, 8, I started taking public transportation.
Oh,
Yeah, so they had a bus that was like more or less assigned to our school. Like anybody could still get on it, and sometimes they did. Like if they worked like near where our school was, some people would like get on, but there were very few stops. It was like all the stops were catered to students, but it was like the public bus that took us to school.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so I
Like,
feel like,
sorry.
yeah, no. Think of like a city's transportation system. Like in this case it was OC Transpo. So like a city bus driver was driving us around.
That's so funny. But was it?
So
It was just that bus's route though. It wasn't specific for the school. You were just.
it was specific to the school.
Oh, interesting.
Um yeah, but like it, because it was technically still, like a lot of adults didn't take the bus because they were like, oh, that bus, the
It's
last
full of
stop is
kids.
the school, and also
Right.
full of kids. But like I think some people found it convenient maybe, and so they would hop on at the stops. And anyway, it's not
Did
like they couldn't get on because they weren't a
yeah.
student. Do you know what I mean?
Did you ever witness or see anything awesome or weird or interesting happen while you were on the bus? I'm just wondering, like comparing your experience on the bus now to what you were
Yeah, I
doing.
think, no, I think it made us like a lot more respectful of the busing system because we were put on public transit. Like there was still, it was
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
more
you
loud, like the volume was probably more loud, but like behavior wise there weren't people getting up and running around. You know, there was a lot, I would say, like a very good level of respect for the drivers.
which is awesome.
Yeah, and then in high school I took like proper public transit to school. So because I went, like I decided to go to a high school across town, so it was up to me to show up every day
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
wanted to
yeah, yeah.
continue to attend.
I
So,
made my bed. I had to. Yeah, I get that one. Yeah, I
mhm,
was on a bus
mhm,
for a while too,
and
and
yeah, that was good. Yeah,
I feel like there was enough stuff, but nothing crazy. Like I think it was just
right.
the usual, like the bus driver yelling over his shoulder, "Sit down." You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
All that kind
Were
of shit.
there were there many routes?
I only remember the one bus route that we took, or the one bus that we had to take, and we didn't take it for very long either. But I feel like it was the exact same route every time. I
Oh,
don't know if that
okay.
was
I
your
see.
question, but there are a ton of bus routes in the area to pick up all
Mm,
the kids and stuff. But the route itself never really changed.
I see.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
kind
that
of
was the
wondered
case.
if there were like if it was a big school, like if you guys had a lot of bus kids or if like a lot of people walked. Like was that an option?
Yeah, like we walked after a while. A lot of people walked, and then especially in high school, the only people that really took the bus were people who couldn't walk and couldn't drive themselves, or
Mm-hmm.
weren't driven by their parents, so they would have to
Yeah.
bus in like peasants. But
Yeah, I was I was shocked at the amount of like in this town overall, there's a lot of like students that get picked up. I feel like it's like a big pick up your kids from school culture. And maybe that's part of like what's different about schools now. I don't know, but
I agree.
yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
feel
there's a
like
lot more kids that get driven to and from school. Like that was not even like that was not possible. My mom was like, you have to get yourself to school. Like that's on you. So and you have to go, so figure it out kind of thing.
yeah, I'm trying to remember like who got driven to school and why.
Right. I could
Because
see if kids are in extracurriculars and things like that, so like outside of regular hours,
yeah, that
that
makes sense.
like pickups at the end of the day would be happening, but that wouldn't even be at the end of the day. Like if it was outside of the school geographically, then yes, but yeah, I don't know.
The times they are changing.
Yeah, there's and I mean, I'd love to hear people's feedback from wherever they are, if that's something they've noticed. Like, is this just the new, like, is this part of being a parent now? Is that there's a lot more parents who feel or who even have the ability to drive their kids to and from school? Yeah, I wonder what the factors are that contribute to
I was
you're a
gonna
bus
suggest.
kid versus a pickup
I
drop
feel
off
like
kid.
COVID really just changed everything.
So much.
I think
Yeah,
more people are getting driven places because of that, and it's
that's
just
true.
the
That's
norm
true.
now. And I mean,
Yeah.
this just occurred to me too, but like William and Olivia, who are in senior kindergarten in grade two,
Mm-hmm.
they're too close to the school to be bused, but it's
Mm-hmm.
easily a half an hour walk for the kids.
Okay.
You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Okay.
So we have
Yeah.
to drive them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That yeah, I just thought of that one.
That's
Hmm.
tricky.
Hmm.
You guys must be right on the cutoff, no?
I'm sure we're close, but it's just one of
Yeah.
those ones.
Because half
And
an hour seems impressive.
I don't even understand either because there's city bus stops in our neighborhood. It would make sense
Mm-hmm.
for a bus to take an extra 10 minutes and hit three more stops.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's actually any school buses in our. You know, when we see a school bus drive down the front of our house, we're kind of curious. What are you doing here, kind of thing.
Right. Where are you from? Where are you going? Could you stop here and take my
Yeah,
kids to school? Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
new
yeah. So
around
many
here.
questions. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Um, well, I was gonna lead into something now. I've totally lost it. Oh, parenting today, how it's different. Yes. So there's a woman whose TikTok page, always TikTok page, um, who posted a video and she was asking parents for their like catchy one-liners that they use that are effective. So there were a bunch of ones that people shared that they heard growing up that are not appropriate just for like comic relief, and
yeah,
that made me laugh. But I was going to share some of them because I think it was a really valuable video to post because you don't realize like there's a lot of what parenting I think is today that's we, maybe we explain a lot more to our kids, or I feel like I do. I try and like have the conversations and say the things, and there's a lot more dialogue back and forth that happens. And so sometimes you're trying to teach them something effectively, and going on a long tangent and like writing a short form essay for them is just not gonna work.
Yeah.
uh so I'm just looking at it now. I wrote down so many. I don't know if I should share them all.
We should share
But
like a bunch anyway.
I'll share a few, and then maybe I can catch you guys up with more next time. um So the first one I heard was every family has different rules. And that is not something I recall hearing growing up, but maybe I didn't push the boundaries enough for my mom to be like, got to lay down the law here. But I think that's an important one, because you get that question a lot from your kids. Oh, well, how come so and so is allowed to do this or do that? And so, like, easy one liner, every family has different rules. If we want to come back, we have to leave nice. So I don't think this is necessarily just behavior.
I
I
like
think
that one.
behavior is a part of it. Like if you're leaving and having a tantrum because you don't want to leave, like, I do make an effort in the acknowledgement department. So I'll be like, "Oh, you're having such a good time, you don't want to go, right?" And it's like, "Yeah, no, I don't want to go." And but then leave nice, like clean up after yourself. I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I do try and do that when I like, certainly when we visit you guys or when we visit other people, um or public places too. I feel like I don't want to say we forget. I know I've at times gone to like play groups and stuff, and we're not there for like their cleanup period, but I'm like, we
Yeah.
should kind of tidy up what we've been using so that other kids can access it too. And I think that's part of it. I think it's like behavior and like actions. We don't comment on other people's bodies. And this also ties into another one that I heard that was like, hang on. If they can't change it in 5 minutes or less, don't say anything. So if somebody's shoes are untied, you can be like, hey, tie your shoes, because they
Yeah.
can change that in 5 minutes or less. But their hair color may be not something they can change.
I feel like five
Typically,
minutes is still too long.
it's a
Like,
long
don't tell
time.
me something that's
Thinking
going to
like
take me 5 minutes to do, because that is just way too long to commit. You know what I
too
mean?
many.
I'd rather
Yeah,
live
yeah,
the
yeah,
rest of my day like
yeah.
with whatever fault that is. But five, like if I can fix it in 10 seconds, sure. But if
Yeah,
it's going to
yeah,
take me
yeah,
5 minutes and I don't even have to be in
yeah.
the middle of anything. Just don't fucking.
I wondered if it was 5 minutes, like for a JK student who might take 5 minutes to put their shoes on or
Oh God.
change clothes or something. You know what I mean?
It's like getting
Pick a
William to
different
get
hat.
dressed every
Yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah,
day.
yeah,
It's like he's making the clothes.
yeah, yeah. They might as well.
Honestly.
Same commitment of time. So yeah, we don't comment on other people's bodies. I think that's a big one, and probably not so much a factor with kids our age, but I am seeing it a lot, like with older kids who
I'm
call
not
each
gonna
other
lie. I
fat
didn't hear what
shaming
you
each
just
other.
said.
Oh, did it cut out?
No, no, no. The first part though. I heard everything after that. What was the first thing you said?
Oh, I said it doesn't really apply so much to us because our kids are younger. I feel like they don't really make I I haven't noticed kids making comments on each other's bodies.
Yeah.
Maybe questions like, "Oh, how come, I don't know, how come your hair looks like that, or how come your nails are painted?" Stuff like that, right?
Nice sidestep.
Yeah.
How come your what else could be a different color? Nails.
uh I actually, like, I don't say we did run into that, but like kids will ask Anson why his nails are painted. Like we do his nails in like funky masculine colors.
Well,
Um,
that's not
right.
true at all. They're just funky colors.
They are funky colors, but yeah, people will be like, "Why are your nails painted?" He's like, "I wanted to. I don't know." And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." Anyway, um, don't yuck someone else's yum. I liked that one.
Ooh,
Yeah, because it's like it's a bit catchy.
mama.
Yeah, mama. But like if somebody else is having a great time, like don't be. I can't remember what they call it.
You know what? Like William does this all the time. Like
Oh,
Olivia will
okay.
say something because she's
Be
just a
excited.
happy person. Whatever she says it, and then William's like,
Woo!
"That's not true. Mm,
Yeah.
that's
So you
wrong.
could
It's
use
this."
that.
He just goes on and on and on. Yeah, I'm gonna use that. Don't yuck someone's yum.
Yeah.
You're being a shithead. Because I can't keep
Yeah.
calling him a dick. It's gonna start being a problem.
Right, because then he'll run around and call other people dicks. That's
Well,
cool.
or he'll like internalize this and it'll become,
Or yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
I suppose
I
more
shouldn't be
importantly,
calling my son a dick.
be kind. Use kind
Yeah.
words. As my mom always said this, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything.
Well,
And
I've
so
said
yeah,
this to William, but he'll
yeah.
say, I didn't say anything mean. I'm like, no, man, but there's a fucking serious edge to your tone, okay?
Right.
Like, she
Yeah.
can understand that you're trying to be mean
The
just because
words
you're not
weren't
saying,
mean, but
yeah.
the delivery was.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a nice sweater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah,
Be
this
like,
is I think this will work for this situation you're discussing cuz like
oh, I've said this to him.
it's an essence, right? Like he's his response is creating a feeling
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to his words being cutting, right?
Yeah. And I realize what you're saying now, too. It's so true.
Yeah.
Fucking, he's yucking all over everyone's yums.
Yucking. He's
Blech.
yucking. Don't yuck or don't be yucky. You could say
Yeah.
that. Asked and answered. This is a good one instead of no when they ask you 700 times the same question. Oh, please, can I please have that? Asked and answered, which apparently is also a legal term that means something completely different. Um,
Hmm.
and this was just hearsay in the comments, but yeah,
When,
I liked that one because it elaborates a little bit more on the no because it's easy to retort to no but asked and answered. I like that one. You don't
we,
have to. Sorry, go on.
we heard that one just this year for the first time.
Yeah,
Olivia's friend Harriet, her mom, said that one to her daughter while she
nice.
was beside us, and I was like, I'm storing that one away
Yeah,
because you're right.
that's a keeper.
It limits what they can do back. Because if you say no, they can fight that block. But if you say
Mm-hmm.
asked and answered, they're like, oh fuck, I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Ask a different question might become the thing, but anyways, it will encourage them to become creative thinkers perhaps as well.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be friends with everyone, but you have to be friendly. And
Yeah,
I
I
would
say
say
that
that
a lot.
do you? This is and like what kind of situations have you found yourself using that in?
Well, like it's kind of it's mostly just with children.
Okay.
Um, but the idea to them, and it's self-explanatory. Like you don't have to like them. You don't have
Mhm.
to enjoy being around them. But if you're going to be, you
Mhm.
again, I hate to fall back to bad habits, but don't be a dick.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just don't do those things that you're
Yeah.
thinking of doing, and
Yeah.
don't say those things, and you'll be okay. Yeah.
Have you seen it like in friend groups with your kids or is it between each other or both?
Mostly between each other. I found them to be really good with their other friends, and on it, it's the weirdest thing. We hear nothing but good praise when our kids come back from birthday parties and shit like that.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah, they're just being
Of course.
fantastic, which is
Yeah.
awesome to hear. But yeah, mostly just with each other. They very rarely have interpersonal problems with their friends. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it's. I don't know why. That's interesting.
I don't think that's a bad thing. Maybe
No, I
don't
just feel like it
overanalyze.
is. It's had to have happened. Do you know what I mean? Like
Sure, sure, sure. I wonder if we're equipping our kids with the tools to minimize conflict as
how
well.
like us to not be able to take credit for our own efforts to date.
True. Is that a good choice for your like watch out,
Mm-mm.
be careful, stuff like that? Like it's a little bit and this came from a parent who felt that it applied over a long period of time. So like once they got older, the meaning of is that a good choice for your body changes.
Yeah.
So like if they get into substances or whatever, if they get a boyfriend or girlfriend, like those question suddenly takes on a new
So
life.
I I was watching this show on Netflix called Swamp Kings.
Swamp
Swamp
Kings.
Kings.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about the Florida Gators, the University of Florida or Florida University. I don't know what it's called. Their
Mhm.
college football team.
Mhm.
And I guess this team is really good football team, great history, and they're in the
I think it's is it
SEC.
Florida State?
No.
No.
Because like there's state universities, like there's
Oh, I see.
Michigan
I see.
University and Michigan State University,
Oh, gotcha,
and,
gotcha,
and you'd
gotcha.
probably get
Okay.
your ass kicked if you said that at a Michigan game. But anyway,
I I I uh I just learned the difference. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
we no, I'm saying it's nothing we would understand. It's just in the
Ah.
states. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
They do things
Mhm. Mhm.
differently,
Yeah.
and so it's like a 4 episode little documentary on the Florida Gators team, and it was the years that Tim Tebow went to school there, so he was the quarterback for that
Oh.
team, and it
Oh
was just a
shit.
behind the scenes sort of. They went on a run. They won 2 national titles. Like it's
Mhm.
in a row, I think. Um, and the coach did a phenomenal job, and he worked them like dogs and everything. But what was really funny was the one of the guys who's coming back and he's on the show and he's talking about coach stops me in the hallways and he's like, hey Brendan, you living right? And I'm
You
like,
living right?
and he was dodging it. He comes back and he goes, I finally said, no coach, I'm in college. I'm 19 years old. No, I'm not living right. He just well, it's when you said, what's good for your body. It depends on
Yes.
how you're framing your experience and what good is to you. Because one thing that I struggle with the most is the fight that we're going to fight is trying to have our children understand, or trying to have anyone that's in our lives that we're trying to communicate important things to,
Mhm.
when they don't understand or don't appreciate what a long term objective is. Because when you
Mhm.
say is this good for your body, the in my mind the spirit of the message is anything that's not good for your body, kind of more Mormon style than
I
anything.
see. So
But you're
like
doing it
yeah,
for
you
long term
suddenly yeah.
benefits, not because if I'm like, hey, is that baconator good for my body? Well, it's gonna make me feel real fucking good
I see. I see.
when I eat it, but I know it's not good for my body. So
I see. I see. I think this was less a question of like dietary choices or consumption. I think it was more like a an activity thing, like when they're
oh,
little and they're climbing on the play structure and they're doing wild stuff that like that they're not ready to maybe do, or if you see them fumbling or they're tired and you're like, hey buddy, is that a good choice for your body? Instead of because I feel like be careful is like a big blanket
it's like a lazy thing
question.
too. Oh, just be
Yeah, and
careful. I told him. I
yeah,
said it.
eh,
It's not my fault.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So instead, using something a little bit more specific, and I'm sure there's other, you know, varieties of that same sort of question, but yeah, like
Jordan
You know,
Peterson.
where are you putting your leg, or what are you doing with your arm, and what are you thinking about? You know, like try and dig a little bit into, make them question what they're doing a little bit so that they're being more
Start to sort of
critical thinkers.
process
Yeah.
consequences almost. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard for some like really young kids, but I think once they're over like 5 or 6, it starts becoming a little bit more reality maybe sets
Yeah.
in, and they've hurt themselves a few times. So there is a bit of like practice in the theory. So you're going to say Jordan Peterson?
Yeah. Controversial as he is, one of
Yes.
his in his book 12 Rules for Life.
Yes.
One of them was let your kids do dangerous things safely. I think. I don't
Okay.
think I have the book, but the idea was it kind of goes hand in hand with what you're saying. Like, is this good for my body, kind of thing? Because
Yeah.
it gives them a second to pause and think about what they're about to do, and either decide it's not good for my body, I'm not going to do it, or I've taken the necessary precautions. I'm thinking about all the bike ramps we built when we were kids, and
Mm-hmm.
no one asked us if that was good for our bodies.
No.
Oh man.
So, what are you guys doing over here? Yeah.
I'm picturing that voice that's floating around. So, what are you guys doing around here? We just taking
Yeah.
your bikes off a ramp. Looks pretty tall. It's pretty unsafe. Two nails and a 2x4 and a plywood.
Mm,
I feel like that's
yeah.
really really funny.
You can
The
relate.
but yeah, I like the idea of letting kids, because body awareness is something you can only learn. Like, you don't realize that it might hurt when you land on your arm and break your collarbone because you don't understand physics or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know.
Breaking bones.
But yeah, doing things, and it just makes them. I think it would make children more confident, more comfortable, a in their bodies, and b making their own decisions. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
decision making was like huge on
At the
like
top of
the
our.
millennial training package. It was like
Yeah.
you know
It
what,
was
we
a.
were we were the ball in the pinball machine, and we were just trying to live
Mhm.
our life, and we would just get battered whichever direction was the right one to go, whichever way we were
Yes.
told to go. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty accurate.
Go this way, and like kind of in a harsh, abrasive way, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then occasionally you would do something right, like you get in between like the three bumpers and go ding, 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 and just get all the points. But
Mm-hmm.
that almost never happens. And it's almost swiftly
So
followed
rare.
by losing your ball down the center,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
So
is
rare.
probably a metaphor for like generational trauma. I don't know. Is
Hmm.
that too far?
Yeah. No,
Is
I
that too
think you
far?
could. I think you could definitely.
Yeah,
That's
victory.
that's
You
a
lost.
that's a term that maybe, and I could be wrong because there's no research to back this, but I think we use that term the most. Breaking the cycle of generational trauma. I feel
You
like
mean
that's like
millennials?
millennials. Yeah, we use like that term is just like that might as well
The
be
buzzword.
millennials breaking the cycle of generational trauma, like as
And
in
you know what the best part is?
tagline.
Is literally
We
no one
think
no one
maybe.
outside of millennials gives a fuck. Like, we
Yeah.
think we're like, as a generation trailblazers. Yeah, we're breaking
We're doing
generational
so much.
trauma. We're doing all these great things. Everyone else just doesn't care. They're like, "What?"
No.
Gen
No.
Zs are just in their own world. They can't even
Absolutely.
see anything else. And Gen Alphas are like, oh my god. I worry
They're
that Gen Alphas are going to be the worst generation.
they're supposed to be the ones that are going to change the world. That's what we keep hearing.
I'm not seeing
Because
good green
right?
flags about that
I
so
I
far.
know. Like they're supposed to be the ones that have been quote unquote gentle parented, that have been like raised in a way that is a lot more thoughtful and curated, and spend more time with their family, spend more time with their parents, like all that stuff, that all the things that we're told that we should be doing more of. And it's kind of like does it make a difference? You know what I mean? Like what's the right and wrong thing? And yeah, I think
So
there's still a
interesting.
lot of, it's an ever evolving thing. And yeah, generations will look back perhaps and be like, you guys really messed up.
Well, I wonder if it's, you know,
Should have
we're
just
thinking,
gone back to beating your kids, you dummies.
yeah, because I wonder what success
I
looks
don't
like.
actually believe that, just sidebar.
And I wonder if the outcome is less geared towards, you know, they succeed in terms of common metrics like, you know,
Yeah.
married, house, job,
Oh
cars,
gosh, yeah.
401k or
The
whatever.
checklist. Yeah.
And I wonder if they'll be the greatest generation because you know I look back to sort of like the industrial revolution up towards like uh you know Henry Ford and the 5 day work week kind of thing.
Yes, yeah.
Like since then every aspect of sort of human existence has been pretty cookie cutter, pretty well
Mhm.
templated. The path was
Mhm.
pretty common and every generation sort of has their revolution, their little rebellious group, but nothing really changes. So I'm
But
thinking about
now
yeah,
the
and I'm looking at
landscape is so different.
and then maybe that's what their change is going to be. They're going to show that you can
Mhm.
be successful and you don't have to work 9 to 5. You can work remotely and you can like I think about you know professional conversations in the workplace that
Mhm.
we would never have considered because we just are waiting to be told what to do and then
Okay.
we'll go do it with the zeal of someone whose life depends on it.
Right.
Whereas like a Gen Z or Gen Alpha, they're going to be told what to do, but they also don't have the same inhibition. So if it sounds dumb, they're immediately going to tell you that.
Mhm.
If they think there's a better way to do it, they're gonna because they're not worried about what other people think about them. Like you want me
Mhm.
to work here, I'll work here. If you don't want me to work here, I'll go take this somewhere else. But
Yeah.
it'd be nice
I
if
think the opportunities that they have are so different. I feel like we came in, like a lot of us, our early career started right before the 2008 um
like recession or whatever.
recession.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the market crash, there was a recession, blah blah blah. A lot of us were fighting to get our first jobs, and like there just wasn't, like people were getting laid off left, right, and center, and it was like a very scarce time. And I think that that imprinted on people that are in our age group, because I think we still have that. Like we're still like, oh no, we have to do everything exactly the right way and like exactly how we were taught and whatnot. Because if we don't, then we don't have work. Um,
we'll add to that.
yeah,
Every single one of us in the like in that group that you're talking about,
yeah,
I'm sure 90% of that group, their parents treated money like it was a problem in the
always,
sense that
yeah,
like you know like
absolutely.
money's hard to come by, there's not a lot of it, whenever we spend it we got to be careful. And I'm just thinking
You
like
never have enough, never,
well that's it, like you
never,
said
ever.
scarce and scarcity and
Yeah.
that's what made me think like we were programmed to believe that money's hard to get and it's hard to keep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is still applicable. I just think that our mentality surrounding careers and job performance and how we behave at our workplaces is based on that feeling of, this could be it, you know? If I,
Yeah,
like, this could be the end if I don't do well, kind of thing.
it's such a weird place to put yourself and I feel like I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying because I
Yeah.
always think of you know the fork in the road when you come to a decision that you have to make.
Mm-hmm.
And nine
Mm-hmm.
times out of 10, you know the decision you're going to make. And that 1 out of 10, that 10%, you're like, oh man, I wonder if I, you know, usually it's something crazy
But
that
what
would,
if,
that you would never do, like quitting a job or punching someone in the face or just standing up for yourself in a very, you know what I mean? And we're afraid
yeah.
of the consequences of what life after that decision looks like. And it's hard, I think, um, it's hard to believe that you could live successfully in a life post that decision.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I really think that it's not the case. I think generally people who want to find success can and will find success,
Mhm.
and making those decisions should be based off of what you want, or what's
Mhm.
aligned with your goals
Mhm.
more than
Mhm.
anything, especially more than what other people think you should do or expect you to
For sure. And I think to like
do.
add to that, we like you said there was a cookie cutter kind of template leading up into millennials joining the workplace, and then Gen Z was kind of like coming up into the workplace, and I feel like things changed from the perspective of we don't have to do it this way just because we've done it this way for so
Yeah,
long.
100%.
And it was people in the millennial generation, in the Gen Z following us. I shouldn't say following us, like after, chronologically after us, that started to take maybe risks and do things that weren't cookie cutter, that weren't in the quote unquote template. That's still very new, right? Like that's
Yeah,
still like a very new thing that has happened with the world. And now there will be Gen Alpha and a number of a very few short years that I think is gonna like continue to propel that thought and the possibilities and the ability to do what is not the norm, if you will.
yeah, and it'd be nice to see what the landscape looks like on the other side of that kind of
Right.
lifestyle, that kind of living, those kinds of decision making abilities.
Yeah, yeah.
And it'll
A
be
real big
interesting
transition.
because like all the I look at everything that's an institution, all these companies,
Hmm.
governments, whatever, like they've all got their old guard, the
Yeah.
people that used to do the job and they've retired or they sit on boards or whatever.
Yeah, we're right at the cusp of like that changing so much.
And I can't wait because all of those people, I would argue, are responsible for so many of the problems.
The
We
ills. Yeah.
because we try to change and evolve and take things in a different direction, and oftentimes these decisions are governed by boards, and the people on these boards won't agree
They
because
don't want
that's
change.
not the way they do business.
Yeah.
And so our generation, we're going to be those people when these Gen Z's and Gen Alphas are
Mhm. Mhm.
apparently making the world a better place. So it'd be interesting to see if I look at people in the workplace who are really fun to work with, and then they get the big job. You know what I mean? They're the boss
Yep.
now, and they've changed.
They change.
And oftentimes, I think it's just the reflection of them trying to meet the demands of the job
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
need to be met, and also be as true to themselves as possible. So I generally give that to them, but I wonder if we're going to be the people who like to criticize the older generations for ruining our lives and our opportunities. And
I think we may already be there.
but
But
are we going to be the ones that are going to be, when these great ideas come forward and these new ways of handling business come forward, are our peers on these boards and running these companies going to be the
right.
same? Are they going to
Like are you
change who
saying
they
when
are?
we become the people, the old people?
The old guard.
Yeah, the old
Are we
guard.
going to steer the ship in the direction that we want it to go, or are we going to let
Right.
these people steer the ship in the direction it should go?
That is a really good question. And it's one that is referenced to a lot in a lot of the podcasts I listen to. Like comedians, I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts, and in those podcasts, they talk a lot about how specifically Comedy Central used to be the big decision maker for all things comedy. Like
Yeah,
they owned the rights to all the shows. They if you wanted to get on TV or whatever, like you had to go through them, more or less. Like I'm highly paraphrasing this whole experience, but now a perfect example is that landscape has changed 1,000%. So many people have their own platforms, they have their own shows, they just publish stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like a lot of comedians have been publishing their specials on YouTube, or another like affiliates, um oh my gosh, what is it called, like production studio or whatever. And then also the streaming services that exist, like Netflix, Prime, all the big ones, right?
Yeah.
Crave. There's a ton of options for people to do comedy specials on those, or even TV shows, things like that. So a lot of like I feel like it would have been like a real pyramid before, where all like the power was on top and there were very few people making big decisions for the trickle down effect. Whereas now I like I see it a lot more being like a square, where it's like all these different mazes and paths, and like there's a ton of options up at the top. Um for like who's the decision makers now, and like there's some off to the side and
Yeah.
whatever. Like it's way less centralized, if you will, in that aspect. And I think that that applies to many careers and like many workplaces, and that sort of thing. In some instances it's unavoidable, and I don't think they can change the hierarchy, so to speak. But with the influence of everything else changing, like maybe that will too, who knows, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
thinking in the military specifically, like you guys have like a literal hierarchy of like people's positions and what their roles are and things like that. Like I don't see something like that necessarily changing, because it doesn't have to, but in other industries
Yeah, and
it might.
I think, like, hierarchy aside, because every organization needs some sort of structure,
Yes, 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 yes.
just to process the work. Like
Yeah.
anything else aside, just to process the work. And I think it
Mm-hmm.
would be just how relationships at work are handled. I think it'll become a lot less formal. I think it'll become much more collaborative, and
Interesting. Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. It's hard to know, but I would hope that would also provide better work, because the people will be less egotistical. It's less about getting noticed and getting credit, and more about,
Yeah.
like, the team is doing well, so we all do well, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. That's what she said.
I like that idea. I like the idea of the collaborative aspect coming into play a lot more. I feel like in lieu of just having like we'll say perhaps a singular decision maker, like board of trustees will be a lot more of like a thing, maybe. Yeah, maybe they already are. I'm just not in them.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, especially at the lower levels where you got small teams run by supervisors and managers and stuff like that, those people in those positions can be deadly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they can ruin people's lives, and I follow a bunch of TikTok accounts where they basically just read people's terrible text conversations with their bosses,
Oh boy.
and how shitty they are to them, like calling them in off vacation and stuff like that. Like, like all
Uh-oh.
the craziest stuff in the world that it would blow your mind.
Ugh.
But these people
Yeah.
are actual bosses, and they're getting paid, and their bosses think they're doing a good job, but they're treating their subordinates like absolute piss, and it's just unfortunate. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the stuff I would hope would change, and that either the team wouldn't put up with it,
Mm-hmm.
like they would not perform or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or there'd be enough strong personalities in the room that they could call out this manager and be like, hey, there's not gonna fly. You cannot talk to
Right.
people this way. You cannot perform. Like, don't care.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, and I, not across the board, but I've noticed there's a lot of pushback when somebody in those like higher positions of power gets criticism. It's almost like I think like Gen X is better at taking criticism. We are, younger generations seem to be uh, Um, but man, from what I've seen, the boomers are like, nope,
Oh no,
nope,
no, no, no. Yeah,
not
like
taking credit.
there's
Like that's their,
zero room for
yeah,
feedback. No, everything's perfect.
yeah. They're
Good
like,
for
I'm
you.
not changing. This is the way I am now. Yeah,
And it goes back like
and
you don't have to
maybe
be.
that's part of getting
Yeah, just be friendly. Don't be a dick. You can still
older.
like.
Yeah, just
I
be
agree.
friendly. There's an account I follow. If you're interested, I'll send it to you. She is
Oh,
a
is it the
millennial
Toodaloo?
manager. No, I don't think so. And
Like,
she records her phone conversations with the various different age groups that she has to work with in her job. And so she's like, "Yeah, sorry, so and so, we're gonna have to send you on sensitivity training again." He's like, "Is that the same one I did last time?" She's like, "Yep, the exact same one." He's like, "Well, that was just stupid." And she's like, "Mm-hmm." And then he's like, later on, it cuts to a different part of their conversation, and she's saying, the employee is saying, "Oh, yes, a woman manager. Well, that's just so good. That's so good that there's a woman and you're in a position of a role that is managerial, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Yeah, again, that's that little bit of misogyny I was hinting at earlier, just that, yeah, still making those misogynistic comments." And anyways, it just like, it makes me laugh, all of her posts, because she works with people from like across the board, like everybody age group
yeah,
wise, and it's just so interesting to see. And maybe that's like why it's on my mind lately. I'm just like really noticing there's a big obvious difference between all the generations right now. um yeah,
it is pretty
and she gets
crazy.
to see it all. Are you
So we
reading
actually,
comments?
yeah, we actually have a
Oh,
comment on the YouTube
oh,
live. Woo!
yay.
Yeah,
Just
it's our
what,
fave boy in blue, and Emma
what
says
is it?
hello too. You remember Emma?
Oh, Emma says hello. Oh,
Yeah,
yay.
yeah. So
Hey.
that's awesome. First comment on a YouTube live. This
Yes.
just fills my heart. This is yum. There's
This
no
is
yuck
yum.
over here. This is just
uh
you're yumming on my yum.
this leads right into what I wanted to bring up, because last episode I was talking about how we should decode Gen Z, Gen Alpha
Oh no, I've
slang.
got some. I've got some.
You've got some. Okay, is aura points one of them?
I want to come back real quick. The asked
Okay.
and answered.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a list of it's a type of objection that like an
Okay.
attorney would use in court. So when the same attorney
Okay.
continues to ask the same question and they've already received an answer, usually after direct examination, but not always. I feel like it's objection, badgering the witness, that kind of thing,
Okay.
or badgering. I don't know.
So it does apply to the same sort of scenario, just like in a legal setting, as
A
opposed
hundred
to
percent,
a
yeah.
kid
Like the
asking you. Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and it's so that
Sweet.
I don't know. They're probably trying to get someone to trip up. So, what is the word I'm looking for?
Not sure.
You said you asked if there's a specific word. Ohio.
Oh, Skibbity Ohio Riz. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
skibbity.
Is it or originated from Skibbity Toilet? Pretty
So
sure.
skibbity originally comes from a trending Arabic song. However, it started gaining more
Oh.
recognition from the viral skibbity toilet,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube Shorts, blah 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 blah
Oh, is it
blah.
that Skibbity Bop 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 Beep Beep?
Yeah.
Whatever that weird
Although it
ass
has
song
no
is.
set meaning and can be used interchangeably, the skibbity toilet plot portrays it as something evil, giving the word a negative connotation.
Yeah. Okay. So I've had this broken down by Mr. Lindsay. Look him up on TikTok if you want to know more. Um. So he broke down like the meaning of each of the words, because like Riz is good because it's
Riz
short for
is,
charisma.
yeah,
And so he's like, when you say something's Skibbity Ohio Riz, it's actually, you're talking about it being like not
not good game.
um Yeah, and like not what's the word? Oh god. Like not trustworthy perhaps, like not it's not positive.
Yeah.
The sentence as a whole is not referencing something positive. It's referencing something that's like a bit sketchy perhaps.
Is Riz in that sense? Oh yeah, okay. So Riz is used to talk about someone's pickup game.
Yeah, so, like that's Riz independently, but in the context of this sentence, it takes on a different meaning, which is why it's so confusing to people like us who are
Yeah.
old.
So Ohio is for all things weird and cringy.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Um, and
So it's like a
then
high level of Skibbity, Ohio.
yeah, so
Yeah.
finally, Riz is a term largely used by Gen Z and Gen Alpha and a shortened version of the word charisma. It describes the ability to charm someone. Putting the puzzle pieces together, Skibbity Ohio Riz is an insult to someone weird who lacks the ability to flirt.
There you go. The
Brain
long and the
rot.
short. Brain rot's a big one that I've heard. Yeah.
So Skibbity means bad, Sigma means good or cool.
Sigma is like, yeah.
Do you
Sigma's the
remember
best.
a review from last week? Do you remember Phantom Tax?
I do, and I think you sent me the video of that kid who was doing like a YouTube
The
quiz.
kid just he was nailing them all.
He was like, "Oh, I know this exactly," and he said it, and it sounds absolutely insane what he says as an answer, and it's correct, and you're just like,
man.
"What?" It's wild. Yeah.
So
The one I like is Aura Points because it's like very I think positive more or less, but it's like I think it's to describe like you would say max Aura Points if it's like a
like
really
the
nice
translation for us
respectful.
would be vibes.
Yes, yeah. So like good vibes, really good vibes, highest vibes, and then
Yeah.
like on the other side
Negative
would be
aura here means not cool.
not, yeah, that would be
And
not
mewing. Mewing is looking good.
mewing. Mewing is looking good, but there's a specific, yeah, there's that.
You got to do
There's a
something with your mouth.
face. Yeah, there's like a whole facial
Like you got to
expression
put your
attached
tongue
to
to, I don't know.
mewing.
Although I've
Yeah.
seen some incredible
Is that like duck
TikToks.
face?
So do you remember that? Do you remember any of the TikToks I sent? They put the filter on where everyone gets that strong jaw and like the Gaston eyes
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's
kind of
mewing.
thing. And I think I made my jaw look weaker by doing that. But
right.
there's some really great TikToks out there with this filter put on like scenes from Harry Potter, and it just makes everyone look like that person and like they're mewing. And the songs that go like the soundtrack or the sound used with the video is really really funny to go along with it. But that's my exposure. That just right now completed that circle. I had no idea what I was watching. I just knew it was funny.
Right. Yeah.
I've heard the word mewing before, but I have no fucking idea. I thought it was something like
what that even meant. Yeah.
Like submissive, you know what I mean? Like,
oh,
I don't know. Like, it just sounds like a weird fucking word.
Sounds aggressive, a little bit.
Yeah.
In a weird way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know. But yeah, these kids have the weirdest fucking words. I don't know. I feel like our words all came from real words.
Yeah. They were derivatives of real words. And in a way these are too. They're just like using
Phantom tax?
No. Well, phantom tax would be like the proper, right? And it's
I don't
like
know. That's a huge assumption.
an invisible tax that we just made up. Riz, short for charisma.
I love that one too because there's so many different ways people could talk about their own Riz. Like I got a PhD in applied Rizics.
Yeah.
My favorite
the Rizzler.
movie is The Wizard of Oz.
Like
yes. There's just so
it's endless. Yeah. Truly. Gosh, there was another one that I didn't write down. I'll bring it to class next week with me as my homework. I'll go find this other word that I was exposed to. But yeah, you hear them all, these middle school kids.
The
Cathian
only other one
language.
I see here is beta, which means weak, and mad lit, which we would
Mad.
say is like really good, really hot,
Okay.
really awesome. But here it just means stylish.
How do
And
you
I don't
spell?
know
Sorry,
this
can you spell that? I feel dumb.
mad
Yeah.
lit. It's two
Lit. Oh,
words. Yeah,
okay. I
yeah.
heard something. Okay, mad lit.
Oh,
Ah, makes sense.
50 Gen Alpha slangs. Oh my god.
Oh,
There's too many.
50. Damn. They're getting so creative. It'll be interesting to see which ones like stick around, you know? Because every
Bet.
generation yeah, has come up with like their own language more or less.
This
But
seems
then it's
weird.
what
Th-
sticks around with
They're
them.
calling this one Gen Alpha slang, but I see bet, bussin, cap, chuggy,
Oh,
clout,
so
cringe.
they've recycled a lot of existing terminology, but given it
Oh,
new meaning.
fucking losers. Come up with your own shit.
But apparently, cap and sus are now considered vintage. Were we talking
Ick.
about that last time?
Ick. I
The
don't
ick,
know.
yeah,
Sus
gives
can't be
me the
vintage.
ick.
Low
Yeah, sus.
vibrational.
I guess that has something to do with aura. I don't know. And like a lot of the
Sheesh.
terminology is sheesh, yeah. And what's up, brother? I hear that one all the
So
time.
that's from
Is it a meme or a
no, it's a
TikTok
dude.
or
It's a
something?
dude. His name is I can't remember his name, but he
Okay.
is this guy. He wanted to play football in school and stuff like that, but he got injured and he started playing football on video games, and he just became a streamer. What the fuck is his name?
Oh, okay. I
Oh
don't know.
man,
I
but
could
he's
probably look
like,
it up. What's up, brother guy?
"What's up, brother?" It's always like something to do with his game, so
I'm
everyone
not
would
going to say his
would
name
keep it.
properly. Keiron. Oh, no, that's a song. What's up, brother? Meme original?
Sketch.
Explore the
Sketch is his
world
name.
of
Yeah.
Sketch and Jinxie. Okay. The
So
Beavis and
I'm
Butthead of
pretty
what?
sure if anyone watches Sketch, it's that is his character. I don't think that's the way the actual guy behaves. I think
Oh, okay,
he's
okay.
kind of like
He's
come into
playing a
this persona
persona.
for while he's online,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um,
Cool.
yeah, it's pretty neat. So yeah, he what's up, brother? It's all like his in game things that he says and does a lot. You know, his mannerisms,
Mhm.
and it just
Mhm.
shot someone somewhere started it, and people just kept going, "What's up, brother? Special teams, special players, all kinds
Mhm.
of random shit like that."
I heard them saying on the bus this week, Big Mac, Big Mac. I don't know if that's going to become a thing, but
William was saying Big Mac all day today. He's got this
oh,
giant
okay. It's a
cheeseburger,
thing.
like
It's a thing.
cheeseburger zipper thing to put all his fucking
Toys and
stuffies in
stuffies.
and stuff, and he
Yeah.
kept calling it Big Mac.
It's a song. Oh
Hmm.
no. Look at us. We're spending too much time. Oh, maybe not. TikTok Big Mac song. Huh. Anyways,
Um,
I'll let you know if it sticks around or not. To be continued.
I was just trying to see if I can change your.
But yeah, a lot of them are viral TikTok things,
Oh,
more or less. You cut me off.
yeah, I'm trying to put you to 1080p because you're on 720 right now, and you're coming
It
in
might
fuzzy.
be. Oh, sorry. It might be my interweb connections.
That's fine. The one we'll post
Yeah.
will be okay too. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the one we'll post
Any.
will have like your camera's quality, not the displayed one here on the internet.
I see.
Sorry.
I was wondering. Anyway, this is maybe not a question for the pod, but I wondered while we're recording sometimes the quality of my video is not great, and I'm like, "Ah, but I like it has a built-in camera that's real good, so how come?" And It always seems to work out when we publish the video later.
So
Like I'm not
what
super
you're
fuzzy, but
seeing is what the like the camera's showing you, but it's I don't
yeah,
understand it. It's recording at the proper like it
rate,
tells you
rate,
in
rate.
Riverside it says like
Mhm.
recording will be blurrier but final whatever is gonna look final product's gonna look
It'll be real
better.
crisp by
Yeah.
the end of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I don't want to go on too long. I feel like this is a good spot to wrap it up.
Yeah, we I'm gonna put this out here. We got 3 viewers on our
Yes.
live today.
Hi,
And
3 friends.
and I think I got called out for a boogie in my nose, but I don't think that's
Ew.
accurate. I think he's full of shit. Um, but I want to say thank you very much for joining us on the YouTube live.
Yes, we hope
Very
to do this
appreciated.
again. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
8 total views, 3 concurrent
Yes.
viewers, average view
Yes.
duration 2 minutes 34 seconds.
Yes, dude.
This is
Love
all
it.
positive. This is all good stuff, and I'm really grateful. Thank you guys so much.
I'll take it all. Yep. Cool. Thank
Until
you.
next time.
Till next time. Toodles.